Going live on Facebook. Live in Zoom. Welcome everybody who is currently attending in Zoom. We are launching the room here on Facebook. As soon as that is set up, we will officially be going live. And we are currently live. All right, sorry about that delay. That was playing on my other monitor there. All right, a couple of housekeeping rules. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Andrew. I will be moderating this webinar, and we are going to be answering any questions you might have about ClickFunnels. Now, anything that is related specifically to your account, where it would require us to log into your account and do some troubleshooting. It's not something that we're going to be able to do here live on the webinar, but anything that is related to a specific question, you can ask us and we can demonstrate that here on the webinar. Any questions that you might have, if you could place those in the Zoom chat, we'll be monitoring that and treating those questions with priority. We also have it going live here on Facebook. If you place your questions in the comments there in Facebook, we will get to those as well. But just keep in mind that because the chat there in Facebook is a little bit more active, we may overlook a question. So if we do not see that question, we're not skipping you. Please keep that in mind. Just go ahead and ask it again. We'll make sure that we get it in within the allotted time. We will be here for about 45 minutes. So any questions, comments, concerns, or ideas that you might have you would like to share with everybody, feel free to do so, and we will answer those questions accordingly. Glenn, do we have any questions as of now?
We presently do not have any questions. We did, however, launch those 2 new features, if you would like to go over those.
It looks like Lois has a question coming in that we'll go in and go over the features, and I'm assuming, well, yeah, we'll go over those. So let's go with Lois's question first.
So Lois's question is, I'm having trouble with my registration confirmation, the thank you page, and the Facebook custom conversion. The pixel helper shows the code is there, settings and tracker, but when I try to activate the custom conversation to make it green by visiting the site, it gives me a code error. The actual HTTP call was never made. How do I correct this within ClickFunnels?
Okay, so that's actually going to be something that you'll want to direct to the support team. This is one of those questions that's going to be specific about your account. And again, one thing to keep in mind, Lois, is that it is a third-party pixel, so we might be limited in what we can do to assist with that, but it's not something that we'll be able to go through here on the webinar. So sorry about that. Glenn, is there any other questions coming in before we go into?
We have a question from Jonathan. He says he notices a bit of discrepancy between his Facebook clicks and his CF page views. Is this normal?
Okay, with tracking, it is normal. So you'll notice a discrepancy between tracking differences across different tracking platforms. For example, Facebook in this case is going to be tracking the number of clicks, whereas ClickFunnels is going to be tracking the number of unique visitors that come to the page. Not necessarily are those 100% going to be in line with each other, but that is a differentiating factor between the two when it comes to that. Also in your statistics, you should see up here under your stats, you'll see the number of people that came all, right? So these numbers right here, there will be subtle differences in between those different procedures, yes. So hopefully that answers your questions. If you have any follow-up on that, I'd be happy to answer that. Now, one of the features that we were referencing earlier on is on Actionetics under the broadcast emails. Now what it has is the opportunity of being able to send a broadcast to a group of subscribers that are active within the last X amount of time that you set. Now where that is at is a fantastic question because it's a brand new feature and I am not 100% familiar with where it is, but that is in here. I did see that. Glenn, did you have any feedback on that?
I haven't looked too in depth with it just yet. Let me try to pull up my account and see. I'm not actually able to pull up my account right now. I do see we have a question from Adele, however. We can go over that real quick as we're getting back to the new feature. She has 2 questions. First, ClickFunnels is the best thing on earth, no doubt, and hands down. So the questions are for knowledge and improvement only. Here goes. The digital table rush only works on checkout pages for CF only. It works on a main page. Will it ever work for more pages, or do you not want to rattle your friends and have a rival app?
Okay, so that's actually a really good question. As far as features go, anything is possible for the future. A digital table rush is awesome, and you're correct. It does work on the order pages, which is meant to spur obviously that action from seeing other people take action. It's part of human nature. So that's an awesome feature to be coming in. What you can do is you can submit a feature request so that can be something that can be considered. Obviously, the number of people who submit feature requests it kind of has an influence or an impact, if you will, on the decisions on what's developed. Obviously, there is a roadmap for ClickFunnels that is the priority. So, and I can't speculate as to what features will be added, but it's just something to keep in mind. As far as ClickFunnels being awesome, I agree with you. Of course, I am somewhat biased. Is there anything else that goes, Glenn?
She has a follow-up question. She says, despite there being periodic bugs sometimes, every single guru and millionaire today uses ClickFunnels. Will there be a time where there is no longer such things as the quote-unquote same problem that repeats itself because Facebook ads lose people's money on those hours or days that they go down? Just curious.
As far as software, it's just in the nature of software. We fix one thing, something else goes wrong. It's just how it works. It's like that with anything. Obviously, as we get better, as we continue to progress, we will have less and less of the same issues that you're experiencing. And of course, we'll have some new ones that we have yet to experience. It's just the way it works. So hopefully that answers your question. Obviously, we do have a pretty robust system in place to be able to squash the bugs that are taking place. And from our perspective, we do handle those pretty rapidly on things that impact the system as a whole. So hopefully that helps as well.
We have a question from Kyle. Is there a template for setting up a funnel for people in network marketing, not the live demo page?
Okay, so yes and no. Network marketing funnels necessarily are typical like bridge funnels, things like that. One thing to keep in mind, Kyle, is when you are building funnels for network marketing companies is terms and conditions of the company itself. You'll want to look into that. A lot of them are very strict on what you can say on the page, but using ClickFunnels for your network marketing business to build your list is very, very easy. You can do that with pretty much any template out there. Inside the marketplace at marketplace.clickfunnels.com, there are network marketing funnels built by people who are in the field of network marketing that are experts in that and able to build some pretty solid lists and market their products and build their businesses effectively. I know that one of our team members, Stephen Larson, has a pretty popular one as well. So it just depends on what it is by network marketing funnel that you mean with respect to the template.
Our next question is from Daniel. He's asking where he can access the recordings of the previous classes. I'll go ahead and send you a private message with the link to that, Daniel. Other than that, we do not presently have any other questions.
Outstanding. Do we have anything on Facebook? I know we're broadcasting over there. I was seeing some coming in.
We do not. We had 2 from Adele and 1 from Jonathan.
Great stuff. All right. So we don't have any more questions. I can kind of take a stab and try to figure out where our new features are located. Because like I said earlier, I haven't gotten a chance to go in and find out where they are. I know they're here. Glenn, did you have any ideas where that might be?
It should be under the SMTP settings for, 1 second. Should be under email broadcasts, and then you should be able to set the regularity under broadcast itself.
I don't see it. Maybe it's not active in my account yet. That could be the reason why it's not here.
Possibility.
I remember seeing it earlier today. That's pretty cool. So it looks like we do have some.
Reach out to that for tomorrow. Kyle would like to know, how do you broadcast on Facebook and your landing page at the same time? Is that possible?
Okay, as far as the ability to do that, that would depend on the application that you're using. So for example, Zoom, we're using that here. Zoom allows us to broadcast onto Facebook while at the same time having the Zoom room live broadcast room there. That Zoom room can be actually embedded onto the capture page. It's not something that's actually ClickFunnels, but more related to the application that you're using to do the broadcast.
We have a question. How do you sell a house with a funnel?
That is a fantastic question. Again, you'd have to kind of take a step back, find out what you mean by that. Are you a real estate agent? That again, ClickFunnels will lend itself really well to being able to generate leads for yourself in whatever area of the country that you're working in. If you are trying to sell a house as an individual, I'd contact a real estate agent. Maybe they're using ClickFunnels and have a lot of leads in the area where you're trying to sell your house. As far as marketing advice, it's not something that we're actually able to provide over, obviously on the webinar. But with your question, you can do just about anything marketing related with ClickFunnels. When it comes to sales, what you're trying to do is you're trying to get your message in front of as many eyeballs as possible so that you have the best chance at making the sale. So whatever the product is, whether it's a house or a digital course, just having a page up and sending traffic to that page will increase your chances of being able to do that. Outside of that, strategy-wise, I would suggest that you can reach out to somebody, obviously some of our certified partners. You can find their profiles at marketplace.clickfunnels.com/consultants. And there's other people in the Facebook group as well that you can reach out to who have some experience in this area and can lend you some of their expertise. Lynn, did you have any feedback as far as that goes?
No, that was excellent. We have a question from Jeff Klein. How do I get a form to email a notification with form data and respond to a customer? Do I need to get the $9.99 a month? Does it include personal service?
Okay, so if you're talking about the $9.99 per month plan, that would be the paused plan. And that's not going to give you any access to anything within ClickFunnels. It just pauses your account, keeps everything in there so that it doesn't get purged in the system from it being inactive. Getting a notification.
Using the enterprise. That sounds maybe looking like.
You mean the $9.97, the 6 month or the Funnel Hacks package? Is that what you're referencing? As far as the notification email goes, which is with the form data, what you would do is you could set up a notification emailer in the funnel underneath the automation, or B, inside of Actionetics itself, depending on the count level that you have. So if you have Actionetics, you can go into your action funnels, and then inside of an action funnel, you can set up a new step. And in this case, it will be a do action. And we'll set that up. And what we're going to do is we're going to send an email notification, and then we're going to put my email right here, whatever it is that you want to send that notification to. Now, whatever's on the form that is attached to that particular contact will actually trigger in those events. Now, the best way to get the contact data is to go to the funnel itself, fill out your form with the form data that you want, set up all the fields, and then on the automation tab, you do the exact same thing. So here you're going to add a new action. In this case, send a notification email, and then you're going to place your email address right there. And this will send a notification email to whatever email address that you place in this section, and then give you the data that was input onto the form. So hopefully that helps answer that question, if that was your question. So Glenn, did we have any follow-up on that?
He was stating the $9.97 a month plan, $997 a month, yes.
Okay, so same concept, same thing right here. The only difference is obviously you get the 10 SMTP servers go along with that. You just select the SMTP server that you'll be sending from for each individual funnel or each action funnel for those notifications.
Wonderful. We have a question from Matt. Is there a way to have a checkbox that is required to be checked for a button to be clicked? Example, checkout.
Yes, there is. It does require some custom script. That script can actually be found in Funnel University. So if you are a Funnel University member, there are scripts available to you. Let me see if I can log in. That will make ClickFunnels do all kinds of really cool stuff. So give me just a second here. So you should be able to see this here. So this is inside of Funnel University, and you'll see down here toward the bottom that there are CF Pro Tools add-ons. And inside of here, there's all types of different scripts and instructions. So a check button right here. Inside the footer, this allows you to add this script, which obviously I'm not going to scroll down into it, but that will add into your order form a check box or button in this case. And then obviously I'm not sure if this is the actual one that you're looking for, but all the way through here, it is in here. I do know that it's available. So you just have to find out which one it is. So that you can do, or if you know how to write the script yourself, you could do that. So hopefully that answers your question. It's not native to the system, but it can be done.
We have a question from Chandel. She's asking, can you use SendGrid as your email responder? I'm confused as to what it is used for.
Okay, so that's a very good question. It's actually a really common question. SendGrid is a SMTP service that is used to send the emails from Actionetics or ClickFunnels in general. So what happens is when you create your email inside of Actionetics or in ClickFunnels, it sends that information to your SMTP server, whether that is SendGrid, Send13, Amazon, whoever you're using. Your SMTP service will then at that time take that email and bring it over to where you are sending it. So in this case, let's just pretend like your SMTP server is acting like the mailman. And you place your letter to be delivered in your mailbox. Mailman comes and grabs it from the mailbox, takes it to your recipient's mailbox, places it in there, and your recipient can then access it from their end. So in that case, it's exactly what the SMTP server does with Actionetics. Actionetics is you creating your letter, placing it in the inbox by handing it over to the SMTP server, and then they take it over to the inbox of the recipient. So hopefully that kind of breaks it down a little bit for you, and you kind of get an idea as to where the SMTP servers fit into the process.
Wonderful. We have a question from Nicholas. How do I multi-archive contacts in Actionetics? Also, how do I import CSV contact lists into separate groups?
Okay, so first, we don't have a way to mass archive contacts. You can archive one by one, or you can do a global unsubscribe. So global unsubscribe is actually found here underneath your account settings. If you do this, it will stop them from accessing every funnel in your account, not just that particular list. Okay, so or not every funnel, but every list in your account, not just that specific one. So just keep that in mind when you're doing that. Other than that, you'll have to go into the contact and then be able to delete it one by one from that. A better way to do it is to create a smart list and then have a list of inactive subscribers, basically a group of subscribers in your own account that you don't send an email to. It's a little bit different approach on how to do that. Now, Glenn, what was the second question?
The second part was, hold on just 1 second. It scrolled. Sorry, I seem to have lost the question on Facebook. Here we go. Sorry. And then he wanted to know, how do I import CSV contact lists into separate groups?
Into separate groups. So I would assume that what you're trying to do is upload a list into two independent lists inside of your Actionetics account. Curious if that's what you mean. But if you were attempting to do that, what you would do is you'd import your contacts, you choose the file. You're not going to be able to upload from the CSV into those individual files. You'd actually have to segment that using a smart list or something of that nature on the inside. You can segment that based off of whatever. If they have a specific email address or a specific zip code or specific IP addresses, first names, last names, whatever it might be, when you create your smart list, you can segment your subscribers based off of that. You just simply create the smart list here. Add your rules, and then these rules can be whatever you want within, obviously, the confinements of here. So if you want, for example, if their Facebook profile followers is equal to 1,000, and we like greater. So it was greater than 1,000. This right here will filter through your contact database and pull out anybody and put them on this list whose Facebook followers are equal to or greater to than 1,000. So hopefully that helps. Off the top of my head, that's the best I could think of to be able to do that. Glenn, did you have any other?
That's what I was assuming you would want to do, is segment via smart list or just upload it straight to a action funnel itself.
Perfect stuff.
We have a question from Matt Kinzel. Is there a way to have a button hide and show sections and scroll to the relevant section?
Okay, so you can have the button either hide and show or scroll. So you'd have to kind of have it do one or the other. So let me show you how that would work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a page. I'm going to add a couple of sections. I'll just duplicate that a couple of times and then add a row in here, and I'll put a headline in there, throw a button. So here's how you scroll to a section. Now in this case, obviously you would select the section or row that you want to scroll to when they click that button, and that will let that button do that. Now, if you wanted to hide and show a section, what you would do is you go into set the action, and then you'd hide and show. And in this case, you'd select the element that you wanted to hide and show for that specific area. Okay, so you could do the whole element in each individual section, and then have that element have the button that's a scroll to section. So that's how you would do it. You wouldn't be able to do both at the same time. So hopefully that helps.
Damien wants to know, what is the recommended process for taking offline payments for funnel orders?
As far as a recommended process for offline payments, I mean, have a phone number, have people call you. I mean, what I would do in this case is I would find out how other people do it. So more of a strategy question than a technical question. So the best advice that I could give you would be to reach out to your peers in the Facebook group, or again, going to the consultants in our marketplace. So if you go to marketplace.clickfunnels.com/consultants, there's some people in there that have some pretty in-depth knowledge on almost every topic that it comes to, with marketing related, strategy related, and you can set up a call with them. Each of them have their own, obviously, pricing structure, and you'll have to do whatever works best for you. But as far as that goes, advice wise, that's about the limitations that we have. So hopefully that helps.
Kyle would like to know, how do I add a terms of service page inside of my ClickFunnels? Is it a separate funnel that I set up and then add a link to the bottom of my main funnel?
Okay, so that's up to you on how you want to do that. The strategy itself, I mean, logically, it would be good to create its own funnel with all the terms of service about us, all the additional pages that you would put that link to your page, right? And then when you're building your funnels, you just use that static funnel for your footer. So to add them, that's quite simple. What you do wherever you want to do it. Let's just say, for example, this is our section right here where we're going to add our footer. So we'll just come, we have one actually on the page. Good. So here's our footer. So let's say, for example, we wanted to add in our links. A couple ways we could do it is we could just use, obviously, a text block we can highlight that, click that link, and then just link to whatever page we want right here. So it's, for example, if Google was our terms of service page, we just put that in there, save that. Now, whenever somebody clicks on that, it's going to take them to that page, right? The other option that we have is if we add in a new element. What's going on here? Boom. We'll save that. Refresh the page. All right, and we'll scroll down and try this again. So we'll add a new element. I'll go ahead and click that page there, and we'll add a new row. And in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to go for the nav bar. So right here's our navigation element. So I didn't actually add it to the page. Bam. So now you can see here that this actually added in these. Obviously, they look very much like the tabs that you'd see in the bottom of any a pretty standard web page. So here on the right-hand side, when you open that up, you can change the name of this. This is About Us right here. And then you'd simply put the link to my page right there in the link URL. You can open this in a new window, which I recommend doing, or in the same window if you don't want them to stay on that page. Now, in this case, you have 3. If you wanted more, you could actually do that under the Advanced tab here. The number of links that you have, you can have 2 through 5 in that particular section. So if you have more, you can just, duplicate that. And now you have 2 of those stacked on top of each other. You can put them side by side in 2 different elements. If you put the side by side, you can do a lot with the design on that. CSS, you can go in there, basically make it do whatever you want visually. So hopefully that helps answer that question about how to do that. As far as the strategy on how you wanted to do that, you can keep your terms of service in the same funnel, just separate pages, or you could build an entirely separate funnel and then just link out to that every single time you make the page. You also have the opportunity of templating like your footer and your terms of service section, so that every single time you just add that from your templates in that area once it's all set up. So hopefully that gives you a little bit more of an idea as to options as you can do right there. Okay, so.
Matt has a follow-up question. Can you link to an individual section on a page? A button with scroll section works, but not a text link. I believe he's asking if you can use a URL to go directly to a section.
Okay, so like if you basically put a URL in the address bar, they click on that, it's going to take them to that specific section in the page. It might be possible. I don't know. Glenn, do you know if you can actually do that?
It's not within our system. I believe there was some code that they were playing with on Funnel U that you can do that in membership sections, but it really just reorganizes the page itself utilizing UTM parameters. It was real weird.
Okay. Yeah, so there's your answer.
Unfortunately, no, not natively. If you have multiple order form pages with different subscription plans inside one funnel, how can I send each to the same thank you page so that they can all access the members area?
Break them into separate funnels. It's best to have one order page per funnel so that you don't confuse the system. So building a funnel for the sales system, and then whatever they click on just takes them out to the order process for that particular step. That will keep everything nice, neat, and tidy, easy for you to manage, and also easy for us to troubleshoot when we go in and you ask for assistance on the support side. So hopefully that gives you a direct answer. Glenn, did you have any feedback that you wanted to kind of submit in on that? I think we may have lost Glenn on the connection.
There we are.
We did not.
We did not. Yeah, just, trying to keep it as simple as possible when building out your funnels. Utilizing multiple order forms are feasible. Often it can skew statistics and whatnot. It's easy to just do links to outside order forms and transition it all to the same membership. But once again, it comes down to strategy, whatever your end strategy wants to be. Jeff Klein wants to know, can you have a button, input and save data, and email at the same time?
Okay, so make sure I understand that. You want a button to when they click it, it saves all the information and sends an email once that's done. Yes, if I understand the question correctly, what you do is you simply just create yourself a form. In this case, this is a pop-up form. Everything that's on this, the submit page button will submit everything that's on this page to your autoresponder or Actionetics, and you can set up an email to be sent out on the back end and email that subscriber. So in this case, whatever data is put into these forms, I can create custom forms if I choose to. Just go down here, custom type, collect whatever data that I would like, name that stuff, right? And what stuff do you have, right? Whatever I'm asking for my question, that data will be transferred upon clicking this button. And then whatever I have set up here, in this case, I'm not integrated. So let's go ahead and integrate with Actionetics is around here somewhere.
It looks like he's got a follow-up question talking about utilizing an automation. So it looks like they're trying to use a opt-in form and then send an automation to 2 or 3 different email addresses.
Okay, so that's easy as well. Same process on the front end. You just simply set this up. And then under the automation tab, you'll do the same thing we were talking about earlier with the notification email. So on this right here, we're going to add a new action. And we're going to send a notification email, and we're going to notify several people. So my email one. And then you just simply separate those out. Whoops. Separate them out by commas. And then you can send that to as many as you want. So every single email that's in that field there will receive a notification email of an action being taken on that particular form.
We have a question from Chris. How can I create an email list in Action Lyrics on the finals that I create in ClickFunnels? I'm sorry, Chris, I actually don't understand the nature of the question. If you could rephrase that for me, I'd be more than happy to address that. We have a question from Dean. Do you lose contacts when you globally unsubscribe?
Okay, so you don't technically lose any contacts. They're still there, but they won't be able to subscribe or receive any of your emails. But your contacts are still there. So when you're using the global unsubscribe, that's more like if you have a knucklehead on your list that just wants to mark you as spam or whatnot. That's somebody that you don't want to receive your emails ever under any circumstances. You put them in that section for globally unsubscribing. The best strategy for, as far as I can think of, to manage your list appropriately would be to just have a separate list. And that separate list is something that you compile, and you put all of the people who are unsubscribed from specific lists onto. That way they can still be subscribed to another list, still receive emails from that, and go forward, or add themselves back to the list and continue receiving the emails on whatever that particular topic is. So Glenn, did you have any feedback on that?
No, that's typically the best route, and the route that I suggest most people take with global unsubscribe. It's just easier to segment them into a different list. So that way you're still able to fulfill emails to that individual email address. We have a question from Emmanuel. Can you inventory in ClickFunnels? Example, listing for a car dealership.
No. As far as inventory goes, I mean, you could put your products in there, but just like any website, you would still have to go in and update that, especially for a car dealership. So whatever system the car dealership uses now to track their inventory, they would still manually go into the page, remove the images, remove that particular listing, or replace it with a new one. So ClickFunnels doesn't actually have like a inventory management system on the back end to track how much is actually being sold there. There are some features coming up that will limit the number of items that can be purchased. So if you are selling cars, for example, you wouldn't be able to have a person add 6 cars to their cart and you only have 1. You know what I mean? So that's the step there that I can think of as far as that goes. Glenn, did you have any feedback that you wanted to share about that?
There are some ways that you can achieve that using funnel U scripts, but it's going to be real manually intensive. In other words, you're going to have to update it so regularly. It might not be the most viable solution for you with a car dealership. You would end up using 2 or 3 of the funnel U, like cart mode and a few other custom codes to achieve just the visual you want. But like Drew said, we don't have the ability to do back-end inventory like the car dealership sites typically do. We have a question from Bob. Can you address delivery delays on notification emails and digital asset delivery? We are using SendGrid.
Okay, so that would be something that you'd want to have support look into. Now, a couple things that could be delaying it would be a delay in between the server between ClickFunnels and SendGrid. How you troubleshoot that is very simple. You'd simply go into your SendGrid account and see when the email arrived in their system. If the email arrived in their system when it was supposed to, then you would have to reach out to SendGrid and find out why that particular email was delayed. A couple of reasons there on that end could be, again, server-to-server communication between SendGrid and the email provider. Or it could be that you've reached your sending limit for that hour or for that day. So there's a lot of different things it could be. Is it something that we'd actually have to take a look at and see what might be going on to direct the question in the right area, make sure that the right people are able to assist with the right things. In this case, whether it's going to be a ClickFunnels support issue or a SendGrid support issue, or it just happened to be servers bogged down at that moment. So hopefully that helps.
And a good thing to note is status.clickfunnels.com. You can go in there and see the backend functionality of what we're currently operating at. It'll tell you if there's more than a 5-minute delay. And then additionally, you can look at SendGrid's status itself. And Drew just pulled up the status page for ClickFunnels.
You can subscribe to it as well, which is a really good point. You'll get any notifications if there's any major issues, major outages, but you'll see as you go down here, all the information is here, uptime, 99.93% critical background job performance, email integration right there. All types of information is available for you here. It's a really good resource if you have any issues that are kind of one-off issues that don't make any sense. So.
We have a follow-up from Christopher. He was asking how to make an email list in Actionetics.
Okay, so in Actionetics, what you do is simply open up obviously the application here, and then you can scroll down here from the tab and click email list, or you can choose it from the left-hand side. Once you've selected that, what you'll do is add a new list. In this case here, you're going to name the list. This is a demo list, and you're going to tag that. What the tag will do is it will segment your list of lists in the background. So we're going to go ahead and call this a Q&A demo. We'll show you where that goes. If you want it to be a smart list, you can do that. What a smart list is a list that populates based off a specific set of criteria. So let's say, for example, if I want to build a list where I find all the local businesses in my zip code, what I would do is I'd create a smart list, and I would filter that list by zip code, put my zip code in there, and it will populate a list of everybody who's on my list that is in my particular zip code. So that's something that you would do with a smart list. And what we do is go ahead and create that list. And what you'll see here is it's already ready to rock and roll. The only thing that you have to do next is associate it with an action funnel. If you haven't created the action funnel, first thing you'll do is come down here, click on that, create the action funnel. The action funnel is going to be the sequence of events that takes place with a person who subscribes to that list. So if I opt in, do I receive an email? Do I receive a text message? Do I wait a couple of days and get another email? What happens? What do you want to happen with your subscriber? That's what happens in an action funnel. So what you want to do is then you'd want to go ahead and associate that with a specific action funnel when you're setting that up. You do that from the action funnel step itself. So this is how you do it. Hopefully that helps. And what we'll see here with the tag, this is actually what to expect. So you see here, that was the tag, that's the Q&A demo. And you can see here all the different lists that are under that specific tag. So Minnesota subscribers, this is actually creating a smart list of people who are people who live in the same state that I live in that are subscribed to my list. Apparently I have 22. Good stuff to know. But that's how you do it. Hopefully that helps.
Kyle has a question. Is there a way that the footer section can be added to every funnel step automatically, or do I need to add it to every page / every time?
Create a template. So what you do is before you begin building your funnels, you'll create the basic template that you're going to use for your funnels and include that footer. So in this case, what I'm going to do is open up a new step, and we'll say this is my template, right? And we'll create that. So in this case, I can do anything that I want. If I want to use whatever, I can choose from the templates that we have. One thing to keep in mind, the functionality of specific page types. Obviously, order forms have to have security credentials, and those are built into the system. Those are here under sales page. So if you're building a template for order forms, make sure that you build it on that particular page type. So let's say, for example, an opt-in, real simple page type, and we want to put footers on all of that. So we'll go in and we'll create that footer section. Oops, I previewed it. However we want it to look. And then once we've done that, simply go into the editor. And then we can actually, right here, general, we could save this as a page template. So every single time that I go in to create a new page, I'll be able to pull that template up with my footer section already there. You can also create templates of your sections right here under my sections. So anything that you have, like for example, a custom footer, you can drag and drop that in, and you'll see right there a custom footer that is attached to this page just by dragging and dropping it. So that's not actually going to be on the template when I go do it, but it's a template of that section, so I can add it any page, anytime I want, by just simply dragging and dropping it. So hopefully that helps.
Hey, Bob, I see you have a question in regards to your split test. If you want to go ahead and submit that as a question to our technical support team, they'd be happy to look into any issues you're experiencing presently. Jeff, I also see that you have a follow-up as far as the enterprise plan. If you would like to go ahead and submit a ticket, we can get that over to our billing department to give you the full rundown on what the enterprise plan currently entails. Jeff has a follow-up question. Is there a sitemap tool for search engine optimization?
Okay, so as far as the sitemap tool, I'm not exactly sure what you'd be looking for there. If you're looking for a list of all the links and all the stuff for your pages, you could simply just add that into its own section. ClickFunnels pages are SEO friendly. Search engines do crawl them. Not exactly blog style, but I mean, you can create content on them. It's not exactly what they're for, but it does technically work. So hopefully that kind of answers your question. Glenn, did you have any feedback on that?
If you were inquiring about a service that will turn your website into a sitemap or give you a sitemap of your funnels, no, we do not natively have that feature. It looks like we have a question from John. Is there an ETA for the PayPal integration other than the current workaround?
I'm not exactly sure what you mean by PayPal integration. If you're referencing... Go ahead, Glenn.
I assume that they're asking, is there going to be a direct integration with PayPal rather than having to use webhooks and setting it up as a third-party product?
Okay, so that I don't have an ETA on anything of that nature. PayPal is, of course, just like with anything, when you sync up with PayPal, you go out to their order pages. So that's how it does. I mean, you're adding it here. Technically, theoretically it's a webhook. It does have a little bit more process involvement, but no different than any other system that I've personally used with PayPal, where you do have to set the product up on the PayPal side before you integrate it with whatever system that is. So I'm not sure if there's going to be plans to make the integration more like, for example, Stripe or anything like that. I wouldn't be able to give you any insight on that.
Jeff has a follow-up question. For the link for the shared funnels, one funnel plan, you'll need to contact billing directly for that, Jeff. Jeff's also asking, where do you see what emails were sent to and when to validate emails were triggered?
You can check that, Jeff, inside of your SMTP server. So for example, if you're using SendGrid, if you go in on the left-hand side, it's got activity. When you open up that activity tab, it's going to show you just about everything that's going on with relation to the SendGrid account. It's going to show you all the emails that they received to send out. It's going to show you if they were bounced, delayed, when they were sent from the system, when it was delivered, when it was open, like all the information's there. So that's where you would do that. If you have a different SMTP provider, they generally have the same information. It's just laid out a little bit differently and worded a little bit differently. So you'll want to kind of tinker with that a little bit to find out what it will be. But again, it's just going to be the analytics portion of your SMTP server.
Looks like we're almost out of time here, but let's go ahead and field one more question. This is going to be from Eric. Can you explain the breakdown using only one SMTP mail server if you're running multiple companies?
Don't do that.
Yeah.
So if you're running multiple companies, each SMTP server has its, obviously, if you're running a company with it, you're going to want to have your own white labeled IP address. You're going to have your own IP address. You'll be sending specifically for that company. So if you're sending unrelated material from the same IP address, you're going to run into some issues. Not necessarily do we want to give you any advice on that. What you want to do is read the terms of service of your SMTP provider. That will give you a little bit more insight as to what we're talking about. But to keep everything neat, tidy, and professional, you'll want to run one provider per business. So hopefully that helps.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are unfortunately out of time for this evening. However, we'll be back on tomorrow as well as Thursday this week.
It was outstanding having you guys here. You guys come across with some awesome questions. We do appreciate your time coming out as always. We'll see you tomorrow.